Fat cells, how many have you got? Well, by the time you're in adulthood, the number of fat cells you have is determined. But up until that point, there's a little bit of leeway there on how many fat cells we have. Now, to lose weight, we don't lose fat cells. We lose the volume from each cell. Think of them like water balloons, and we reduce the water in each balloon. So obviously, if you have less water balloons, it's easier to lose weight. Let me pull up a diagram which will illustrate it better than I can. Okay, so there you go. So I don't know why it's female, and I don't know why she's naked. Okay, let me just say that. Notice the lady on the left has less fat cells, and the lady on the right has what, 4 to 5 times as many fat cells, I'm going to say. So the lady on the, did I say that right? The left, to lose weight, she's going to have to reduce the volume of those fat cells. The lady on the right, to lose weight, she's going to have to reduce the volume of 4 to 5 times as many fat cells. Now, the reason that this is a little bit problematic, let's say, is because there's 3 times in your life when you can actually increase the number of fat cells. And like I said, the number of fat cells you have is kind of determined by the time you reach being a young adult. So there's the 3rd trimester of pregnancy before you're even born, so maybe a diabetic mom or something's going on there. There's the 1st year of life, can increase the number of fat cells. The problematic area, however, where we have a lot of control is the pubescent years. So those kids going through puberty, they can increase the number of fat cells on their body. And that's the time in life when you don't really want to be telling that kid, like, oh, you got to watch your weight, or, make sure you burn so many calories. I mean, that's not really the conversation you want to be having. However, given this knowledge, you do want to be aware that a kid that is inactive, maybe overeats. I mean, it's very easy to do. I mean, with the video games, drive-through sugar, nobody's really pushing sports, energy dense foods, convenient foods, whatever. I'm not jumping on the right or wrong here. I'm just saying that's the way it is, right? So kids have a far greater ability to gain fat that they wouldn't have otherwise. And then they're going to gain more fat cells. Then they're going to get into their 20s, 30s, wherever, and maybe they then want to change their body composition. You see the problem. It's going to be harder for them. Most of the people I coach are between the ages of like 34 and 65 or 70. But when I coach this subject, so I coach it in my signature weight loss program, I get asked over and over and over again, will you build a program for kids, for teenagers? And it's a funky place there, right? Because I don't really want to teach body composition to kids, but there's a conversation there. But at least I can equip parents with this information, because I would hope that most parents, given this information, are going to be a lot more aware of their child's eating behavior and activity level, and maybe they shrug it off like, oh, no big deal, just being kids. It can create a situation that can be problematic to them later on when maybe they want to shift that body composition. You see how I'm trying to be very, very appropriate and everything here, and that's because children can be heavier now, and it's normalized and it's accepted and it's celebrated, and nobody's identity or nobody's life should be limited because of the size of their body, right? That's not right. But say they want to change that later on. That's all I'm saying. Say later on when they're 20s, 30s, like, gosh, I'd like to lose weight. Had I have known when I was a kid, or had somebody guided me when I was a kid, maybe this would be a little bit less of an obstacle than it is. This is the type of stuff I cover in my signature weight loss program. Quick plug, because it's coming up September the 30th, running 6 weeks, running through to November 11th. If you're watching it later than that, we'll be back in the new year. But information is key. And me telling you this, if you're a parent, maybe it's like, oh wow, and I'm not telling you you gotta have a conversation about body weight or being this size or that size. I'm just saying maybe it's an awareness that people can have with the activity level of their kids, encouraging sports, encouraging better eating behaviors, giving the information why will just set them up for an easier time later on.